the surprisingly sinister role of your circulatory system in speeding up aging from head to toe. When most people think about aging, they picture sagging skin, aching joints, or maybe the creeping realization that hangovers now last 72 hours. Rarely does anyone blame their arteries. Arteries? Those boring tubes that pump blood around? They're just plumbing, right? But recent findings, especially the growing attention around a protein called Gas6, are painting a very different and honestly, kind of creepy picture. Your blood vessels might not just be aging with you. They might be aging you. Welcome to the world of vascular aging, where your circulatory system plays less of a passive role and more of a lead villain. It turns out your arteries are less like static pipes and more like hyperactive messengers, carrying not only life-giving oxygen and nutrients, but also a payload of biochemical gossip, proteins, hormones, and inflammatory signals that can either nourish your organs or quietly light them on fire. And in the aging process, they seem to choose arson a little too often. Let's talk about Gas6. Sounds like something you'd accidentally ingest during a chemistry lab mishap, but it's actually a growth arrest-specific protein that shows up more and more as we age. Gas6 isn't inherently evil. It plays roles in cell survival, clotting, and inflammation. But in aging tissues, especially aging arteries, it starts behaving like an overzealous coworker who sends way too many emails labeled urgent. Instead of helping, Gas6 can amplify the body's inflammatory signals, triggering a cascade that affects the brain, immune system, and even metabolic function. And what better delivery system for this rogue molecule than your vast, leaky, increasingly stiff vascular network? Your blood vessels are like the FedEx of aging signals, except instead of delivering birthday cards and Amazon packages, they're dropping off inflammatory proteins, senescent signals, and clotting factors straight to your brain, your heart, your kidneys, and your immune cells. Efficient? Absolutely. Helpful? Not exactly. Here's where it gets truly unnerving. Aging arteries don't just carry bad news. They create it. Over time, the inner lining of blood vessels, called the endothelium, loses its integrity. It gets leaky, inflamed, and more permeable, sort of like a worn-out coffee filter that lets the grounds through. This sets the stage for oxidative stress, plaque buildup, immune miscommunication, and chronic low-grade inflammation, what scientists now call inflammaging. And once your blood vessels go rogue, the rest of your body seems to follow. One of the first casualties? The brain. Vascular aging is a known accomplice in cognitive decline, dementia, and even depression.
Why?
Because your brain, that hungry, high-maintenance diva, relies on a pristine and tightly controlled blood supply. When aging arteries start dumping inflammatory signals across the blood-brain barrier, neurons get cranky, memory falters, and neurodegeneration creeps in. And you can't exactly unfollow your own circulatory system. But wait, there's more. Vascular aging also messes with immune function. As the arteries become more dysfunctional, they pump out distress signals that confuse immune cells, triggering them to overreact, or worse, attack healthy tissue. It's like your body's security system suddenly mistaking your fridge for an intruder and setting off alarms every time you reach for yogurt. Cue chronic inflammation, autoimmune issues, and a significantly higher risk of age-related diseases from diabetes to cancer. And still, we rarely hear about arteries being the first thing to age. We talk endlessly about skincare, cognitive enhancement, and gut health, but when was the last time someone asked, "Hey, how flexible are your endothelial linings lately?" Yet it's those very linings, once supple, dynamic, and protective, that begin stiffening and malfunctioning decades before symptoms show up. And when they do go, they don't just affect one system. They broadcast decline to every organ, acting like a megaphone for aging. Now here's where things get more hopeful and a little weirdly empowering. Vascular aging isn't a one-way road to decrepitude. Unlike some age-related changes, your blood vessels are incredibly responsive to lifestyle choices. Yes, you heard that right. Your arteries are eavesdropping on your habits. Exercise? They love it. It boosts nitric oxide production, keeps them flexible, and calms inflammation. A diet high in polyphenol, think berries, olive oil, dark chocolate? That's arterial poetry. A chronic stress, processed sugar, and a sleep schedule that looks like it was invented by an insomniac vampire? That's how you fast-track vascular decay. So maybe, just maybe, the key to aging slower isn't locked inside a brain scan or a genetic test. Maybe it's humming away inside your own circulatory system, begging for some attention, and maybe a little less bacon. Blood vessels may be the body's aging superhighway, but they don't have to drive you straight off a cliff. With the right choices, you can take the wheel, reduce the traffic of harmful proteins like Gas6, and chart a path toward resilience, clarity, and longevity. It's not sexy. It's not flashy. But if you want to age like a fine wine instead of a flat soda, take care of your arteries. Because in the battle against time, it's your internal plumbing that might just determine how smooth or how bumpy the ride really gets.